Hi friends, it's Sarah from rufflesandrainboots.com here with a quick craft. We're making a Whisk Broom Gnome DIY. Whew, if you'd like to make it, boop, just stick around. That was a lot of words in a small amount of time. As always, please give this video a like so I know you're here. It helps with that YouTube algorithm. This is who we're making today. He's a nice neutral style for fall, and it only takes about 10 minutes to make him. Super cute guy. He is unscented, and I'll share with you, you don't need a lot of supplies. So you can see here on my table, I don't have a lot. I'm just going to be using this 4-pack of Whisk Brooms that I got on Amazon. They're the neutral version. I'm going to use a 1-inch wood round. You can use anything you have on hand. These are 18-inch cotton napkins, also purchased on Amazon, so there's no stretch to this fabric. I'm going to be using a bit of twine. This is like that thicker twine from the Walmart, but if you have a little more Dollar Tree twine than I do, you can also use that, or string. I'm going to end up covering it up. But I get a lot of questions on the twine. These are very different thicknesses, so I just like to share. I'm going to use a detail tip glue gun and some pinking shears. You don't have to use those. And I'm going to show you my measurements with that ruler over there. All right, so this little pack of Whisk Brooms has 4 in it. And the size varies between almost 6 inches to 12 inches tall. And so I like them because the tops are neutral and I can use them, like you can tuck one into a dough bowl, you can put one behind like books in a bookcase. These are easy fall decorations. So I'm actually going to use these 3 smaller ones in my decor and just use the big one here to show you how to make an easy whisk broom. No. All right, so take that off. I am going to leave that little hanger. It's sort of a really thick material, and I figured it'll help make that hat stand up because we're not going to hang these. There's no oils or scents for it to get onto your counters or your bookcases, so don't worry about that like you do with the Dollar Tree scented brooms. So this is that 1-inch wood round. I think it still looks good, so I'm going to use that. Now this particular napkin, I want these all 3 colors and styles of vertical stripes. So I want the thin, the medium, and then the big swash of this beige to show up in my design. So doing that means that I can have a nice big slouchy hat to the side to bring out those darker stripes, or I can use a little tiny puff at the top. There's a couple of ways we can do this. If you want to create a cone hat, all you need to do is take a rectangle of fabric, put the right sides together, and then cut it in a triangle from the brim to the fold. But I'm going to show you how I made a hat with literally no effort at all. So I know that I'm going to need about 13 inches tall, just so that I can have some nice slouch. For the width, all you have to do is wherever you want to place your nose, you're going to measure that and add between a 1/2 inch and an inch. It will allow a little bit of scrunch. It will allow it to completely cover the broom and your nose, and it's super easy. So I'm just going to go ahead and eyeball it here. I will measure it out for you just to make sure that I'm giving you, the right instructions. So I'm just going to use my pinking shears because this is cotton, but you don't have to use pinking shears. If you're going to use regular scissors on the top portion that I'm going to show you in a second, you do want to maybe hem that because it will begin to fray. All right, so I'm just going to measure this out real quick. So the width, I'm going to use this brim or this hemline that's already done for me as a brim, and I'm going to use the other side as the outside seam of the hat. So it's 12 and maybe 1/8 of an inch wide along my width to cover my broom and nose, and then it's 13 inches tall. So 12 plus a little bit there. All right, so that's just to give you an idea of what I cut for the actual 12-inch broom. But if you're using, these measurements can change, that you can make it as big or as small as you want. All right, so I'm going to determine which side is the front, and I'm going to be working on the actual right side of the fabric. So I'm just going to flop over this outside, and I'm just going to about 1 inch overlap, and then I have about a couple inches tall, and I'm just going to get that set right on there, and I'm going to pat it down. We don't need to press because we don't want the glue to go through. And you can see, just make sure that it's exactly still where you want it here. So I'm going to show you. Oh, that's the back, but we're going to move this off. But so you can see here we have a good bit of fabrics to still work with, well above the top. So if you wanted a pointy hat, if you wanted a slouch hat, all of them are still good. All right, so now I'm going to make sure that stripe is where I want it. And I'm good because I want to see as much of this one as I can, right? That's my goal, is to bring in that darker neutral. All right, so let me just pop this off real quick. Oh, I'm hooked on that little hanger thing. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the back side. I'm just trying to iron it out with my hand because I already packed my little mini press iron, and I don't know where anything else is. All right, so now I'm just gonna close this up. And the beauty of this hat is that it is a straight line. You don't have to worry about this. If you have the mini napkins, which are like, what is it, Demitas napkins, like the little mini ones, that's exactly this size right here. All right, so we're gonna glue that all the way up, and now I'm gonna trim up the top because I cut it less than ideally. So I'm just gonna use my pinking shears to cut off the wonky bits at the top. And this is real-time crafting. There's nothing edited out or anything. I'm not speeding anything up because I want to show you that you can actually do this so quickly. If you have a craft fair coming up for fall or Christmas, absolutely look for napkins. They have some amazing prints, and because you're working with smaller projects like this, you'll be able to either get 1 or 2 gnomes from each napkin. All right, so now because I know where I want my hat to be, I'm going to just go ahead and attach my nose. You do want to use a good bit of hot glue, and the reason is because this broom is going to shift, right? We want to make sure that we hot glue the nose to the actual broom and to the hat, okay? Now we're going to glue the hat in the back a little bit differently because, again, we don't want that shifting and moving. All right, so let me find the front of the nose here, pop that on, and let it dry. Do y'all ever do that? Do you ever look at the wood bead and be like, that's not the good side? Just let me know in the comments below if I'm alone in that, or if I'm just a touch too obsessive about that. All right, so now I'm just going to glue down the brim of the hat right to the top of the nose, making sure I get a nice little join there. And then I'm going to leave that. You don't have to glue it in front anywhere else. All right, so again, I'm going to gather up my hat, but if you want a slouchy hat to the side, easy peasy to do. So I'm just going to make sure everything is straight. So sorry, I had to stand it up and get out of frame. But I'm just going to literally fold backwards. So if you gather it, it's going to distort the stripe, but if you fold it, it won't. Okay, so now I'm just going to go see which of these twines. I also have this like little baker's twine from the Dollar Tree, but I think this one's going to be best, which is funny that I'm obsessing over this because I end up covering this up anyway. All right, so here's another little tip. I know that it's frustrating to try and keep stripes straight. I'm going to be about 1 inch above the top of the gnome, and then watch how much care I take in keeping these stripes straight. So I do know that I want to tie this in the back, so I'm just going to go ahead and loop it the second time and then start moving it to the back. All right, so I'm just going to move it and shift it, keeping those stripes as straight as I possibly can. And you don't have to worry about this if you don't have the stripes, but I just wanted to make sure that I didn't distort them. All right. And then again, you can fold it over and glue this down for a nice little side hat. You can also tie a tassel to the end of it, but I'm gonna cut it off, and I'm going to add a little piece of fabric ties so that it hides the twine. I like twine, but I don't want it on every gnome I make, so I'm just going to try and do this neutral gnome without any twine showing. I think the brown is enough in the beard, you know? All right, so I'm just going to cut about 1 inch wide of this same exact fabric with the stripe, but I'm going the opposite way. So I'm going on the lateral instead of the vertical stripe. Now we get a nice little piece of everything. I'm gonna line up those stripes. I told you I was obsessed with keeping the stripes straight. Please tell me you do that too. Oh, I hope somebody in the comment section tells me they do that too. Please make me feel better about myself. All right, so all I'm doing here is literally just covering up the twine. You can double knot it, you can hot glue it, whatever you'd like. I like how it's fraying. So again, I'm nice little rustic, easy, style. Cut off the ends of the twine, and then I'm also going to grab those pinking shears again because I need this a little bit shorter. So I'm just going to, this is really difficult to cut through, by the way. But you can tell, like, I'm doing about, so our thing was originally 13 inches long, and I'm cutting about 2 inches off, 2.5 inches off. But I think it's good to have that extra length. And you can also use those for arms if you want to use arms. And this guy, he's all done. I'm going to stand him up straight after I fray this little twine a little bit. I'm also going to glue down, but not on the broom. I'm going to go all the way up to where it's all tied together, where the broom pieces are all tied together, and I'm going to glue there. And that way we don't have to worry about the hat coming apart from the whisk broom itself. Okay, and now guess what? We're all done. This is it. It's super cute, super easy. Brush them out a little bit to break off any of the, little pieces of broom that had broken off while we crafted, and he's done. What do you think of this easy craft? I appreciate you being here with me today. Let me know down in the comments, and as always, please like, share, and subscribe for more crafty fun.